That's what it is. Okay. Black Lives Matter Minneapolis. They are, or they have, I believe that most of the action has shut down. There were protests in Minneapolis at the Mall of America. The biggest fights took place before in the courtroom, where the Mall of America, because it is private owned property, they attempted to get a restraining order on anyone connected to Black Lives Matter. And attempted to use trespassing laws to keep anyone from Black Lives Matter from coming on their property. The judge did not grant that restraining order across the board. What he did was he identified 3 particular leaders in Black Lives Matter and issued a restraining order saying that they could not come onto the Mall of America property. So that did not stop the remaining, I don't know, a few hundred people showed up to the Mall of America. At least from all the images I saw from Twitter, it looked like at least 100 plus 200, even probably more, that showed up to the Mall of America to shut it down on the biggest shopping day of the year. And Mall of America was equipped and ready with the police lined up like you would swear that Black Lives Matter was coming in with weapons. They were coming in with, I can't even think of the word, Molotov cocktails. You would think that Black Lives Matter was coming in there armed, which is not the case. But if you look at some of the images, and I wish I had some handy for you, and I'm sure I could find them, just images of the police lined up protecting the Mall of America from protest. If nothing else, it should tell you the importance with which not with which, but the importance that we place on our cash cow neoliberal economics. I mean, we really there, you have to see it to believe it, but it really was a very strong presentation from the police of a force that really looked, they were in riot gear at the mall for people who were there for a peaceful protest. So let's just put it like that. Riot gear in the mall, stacked 5 deep. I mean, it was really a sight to see. Now, the protest did not last long because Mall of America was prepared to shut down the mall, which they essentially did. Most of the stores closed down, and the protest at Mall of America lasted for about, they said about 15 minutes. So the Mall of America protest was very brief. Excuse me, I'm dealing with a bit of cold tonight. It was very brief, but immediately after the action at the Mall of America protest, they gathered and went to the airport, one of the largest airports in Minneapolis, and shut down the highway leading to the airport. Now, here's an important thing for me. I don't co-sign on things right away. I have to do my own research to find out what it was, what this particular action was. I am not one that's going to give a blanket pass to people I agree with just because I agree with them. Just like with everything else, I'm going to investigate and find out what they're protesting for. So I went to their website. I went to their press release on Facebook, and I'll read a portion of it to you. And then you maybe will understand what I'm going to say after that. Black Lives Matter statement. No business as usual. Black Xmas is here. Black Lives Matter chapters in Minneapolis, Los Angeles, New York, Washington, D.C., et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, okay, we got that. 2 days ago, a Texas grand jury announced their decision of no indictment in the death of Sandra Bland. This young, vibrant Black woman died in police custody after racially motivated stop, a brutal arrest, wrongful bail hearing, and an unlawful detention. We know Sandra Bland. They go through all the things with Sandra Bland. Let me get to the point of the protest. This is at the end of this paragraph. They say, we know that Sandra Bland could have been any one of us. So on December 23rd, one of the busiest days of the holiday season, Black communities across the United States are taking brave actions to impede the flow of goods and commerce with peaceful protests to call for an immediate overhaul of the justice system, both locally and nationally, that will demand accountability for police, removal of grand juries in cases involving police shootings, an immediate halt to militarized police units and weapons, an extensive review of racialized police practices in Black neighborhoods. Okay, so basically, The same reason Black Lives Matter has been protesting all along. Um, what should I say? Sometimes you just shouldn't say anything. But let me say this. I'm on board with the Mall of America action. I am, because that represents it represents a lot more than just a mall. It represents the economic zombification of America, right? I just made the hell out of that word up. It represents a whole lot, and I'm on board with it because it absolutely, exactly like they did in Chicago when they shut down the Magnificent Mile. If you want to get their attention, it's coming to me. If you want to get the attention of political leaders, mess with the economics, mess with their money. That has always been the strategy. Now, messing with the travel of, and I won't say innocent because no one's innocent in this game, messing with the travel of people is not as effective as messing with the money and commerce of an area. I want you to think about this. Shutting down an airport, one airport, has reverberations throughout the entire nation. The logical extreme of their action at the airport could have gotten very, very, very ugly. Not saying they shouldn't have done it. I'm just thinking to the logical extreme. It could have gotten really, really ugly because it becomes a federal action. It would have put President, if you want to get President Obama involved, shut down an airport, and then you'll get a chance to see where President Obama really stands. And maybe that would have been a really good thing. But I think the most effective way is always going to be economic, shutting down a mall, shutting down the stores, boycotting. Economic action is absolutely the way to go. But more importantly than all of that, I always stand behind this premise. What's the purpose of your action? And is your action strategic and going to move your agenda forward? And as I read the press release, I didn't see anything new attached to this particular action. Not that the grand jury with Sandra Bland, unfortunately, I'm going to table that. Let's put that aside because we discussed that ad nauseum. But what I'm trying to say is there are some movements actually going on that need this physical help that Black Lives Matter took out in at the airport. There are some legislative actions going on that need this same help. And I personally, I need to see action tied to specific outcomes. And I guess with the action at the airport, I don't know. It is what it is. Whatever you guys think, I don't really. I applaud the action at the mall because I'm always for an economic boycott because of its efficacy, not for the sake of doing it, not just to get fame, not just get notoriety, not just to be on TV, but because of its efficacy. We have seen throughout the civil rights movement and even through after the civil rights movement, if you want to get grip of your politicians, get a grip of their economy, and you can get the results you need, because what they're fighting for is noble, what they're fighting for is just, what they're fighting for is necessary. And I just want to make sure that as they fight, that they're fighting very strategically. And as you could tell, I haven't solidified my opinion on the airport action. You probably can tell which way I'm leaning, but I'm not there yet. So because I haven't solidified my opinion on it, I'm just going to move on and say I really do support what they did at the Mall of Americas. And I love the way it exposed how much we will go, how far we would go to defend economic commerce against political action. Because I don't think people realize that a lot of times the power structure, not a lot of times, the power structure here is not designed to protect and serve the average American. It's here to protect and serve the economic powers that be and to maintain the flow of commerce. So when you start challenging the flow of commerce, you quickly get the attention of the powers that be. So here, applaud them for their action at the Mall of America. And I'll get back to you on their action at the airport because the jury's still out on me, with me on that in particular. And I don't always have to have an opinion on everything. Chris Carlson said, in regard to Black Lives Matter, stopping people from seeing their families is a quick way to get a lot of people to blanket unsupport a movement. You know what? I will applaud that. I don't disagree with that statement. I do not disagree with that statement. I'm not one who is, I'm not generally concerned with the comfort and the convenience being interrupted. That doesn't normally bother me, but it needs to be tied to a very specific outcome. And I'm still, no, don't judge me on not having a fully formed and flushed out opinion on this. But for me, strategically, drastic times call for drastic measures, but you also have to have a particular outcome that you want. The outcome of just making people angry or making people uncomfortable is not always a productive outcome to get you towards your goals. I want you to hear me loudly and clearly as I circle back and give a little more commentary on Black Lives. If you're trying to get somewhere, then just stirring the hornet's nest is not always, sometimes it can be, but it's not always going to be the best way to move you towards your goal. So tell me how this moves you towards your goal, and I'll come out there and march with you. If there's a logical way to connect the action at the airport to your goals, then I'll come. Hell, let's shut it down. Let's all go. I absolutely know that shutting down a business, boycotting, shutting down the economic center of a region will bring politicians to you to make a change. It has been proven. So that's why I absolutely co-sign what happened at Mall of America, because it is an effective method. I don't know about the airport thing. So let me chew on that a little bit more, but thanks for that tweet.